Hello and welcome to the Radio Free Europa update video for patch 0.4.24. This is a big one for a few reasons. The first is that I now have the actual name and logo of the game, Radio Free Europa, in the game, instead of the working title Project Override. The plan is for update 0.5 to migrate to Unreal Engine 4.27, and that's when I'll change the actual application name. The second change, which I've teased previously, is the new main menu layout and accompanying new music. The next few changes are all invisible, but pretty major, so I'll quickly explain them. The interaction between ships and guns has been completely reworked from a firing standpoint to accommodate different firing modes for different weapons, and also to facilitate another addition, which I'll get to shortly. Previously, guns had no internal logic. They simply reported states to the ship object, and the ship blindly fired whatever weapons it was being told to fire each frame. Now there are discrete start and stop fire events, not just for the ship, but for individual weapons. This allows for things such as a shot being charged up before firing on release, or a delay before the weapon starts firing. It also allows for things such as projectiles being fired when you pull the trigger and detonated when you release it. Unfortunately, I haven't implemented examples of most of these yet, that's for next patch, but the functionality of existing weapons has all been re-implemented using the new systems. There's also some additional weapon parameters to play with, such as a forward spawn offset, which primarily makes it so that you can have a volley of shots spawn fanned out in an arc instead of directly on top of each other, but I have some other really interesting plans for how to use this with boss AI. Next up is damage over time. Projectiles can now deal damage over time instead of just on impact. This includes the ability to apply forces and other effects just like regular damage, and scaling as appropriate. Currently it's a little broken in that every tick of damage increases your combo, but this next patch, that'll be changed to only apply a maximum of 5 times per second. And then we have beam weapons. These required the gun system rewrite, because instead of just spawning a projectile and launching it off, they need to continuously update the beam position and apply damage and effects over time. The effects aren't final by any means, but it's possible to make beams that go straight through everything in a line, as well as beams that stop at the first thing they hit. I've also made some changes to homing projectiles. There are now 2 methods homing projectiles can track their targets by. The previous method I'm now calling force-based homing, and the new method I'm calling rotation-based. Rotation-based homing makes the projectiles loop around in big arcs at constant speed, and it makes slow homing projectiles much more effective and fast ones much more interesting. The force method is still in use for the Hydra missiles though, as to me it better evokes that missile swarm feeling. Finally, there's also game over music. It's pretty bleak and dire, but I mean it's game over, so that's a pretty bleak and dire situation. Anyways, that's it for this update. I'll be back very soon with more, but until then, have fun in space!